Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of the tier list. Tier list that I'm gonna do about the factions. I have a couple of more. Let's get to back to it. The last time around I had like quite of well-known and popular or in also very good factions. Today I'm probably going to cover a lot of terrible ones, terrible factions that you cannot. It's just they're just trash. Okay, that you cannot interact with them. Their LP sucks. You know the you know their design is just not great. They don't have a community, no aesthetics, probably not even a lore, or just geography sucks, or economy is just, yeah. So we're gonna cover most of them. I also have a couple of that might be quite alright. But yeah, let's just go right into it. So we're gonna talk about the Jovian. The Jovian one. Let's put it here in front so everybody sees it. I mean, so what can I tell you about the Jovians? I mean, I don't even have to go in game to tell you much about it because I don't have much to talk about. The Jovian Empire is just that trash. I mean, I don't have to spoil it. I just, I'm gonna say it straight up. Comparatively to the other word, I was just like, I would probably tease a little bit and tell you the result at the end. But yeah, I mean, this Jovian, there's definitely in D tier. I'm gonna tell you a couple of things about the Jovian Empire. I mean, the only way that can probably as a capsuleer you can fly Jovian is just, I guess, the designs of the ships in game from the Society of Thought. Yeah, but that's about it. I mean, let me actually, can I see the show info? There you go. Yeah, they're, Jovian design, I guess. Yeah, the shuttles and the frigate, the metamorphosis, destroyer, all of them. Why do I simulate this? I want to show you info. There you go. So they're designed by them, but I mean, in any other way you cannot, the Society of Conscious Thought is just a faction founded by Jovian spiritualists. Yeah, I mean their ships are good. I mean they're the ultimate Swiss Army, Knives of Eves, but they don't have any skill requirements. But they're not theirs, right? They only designed the ships, those ships. So I'm not gonna, obviously we know Praxis can literally do everything. You can fit, like, you can have it played in so many ways, but I'm not gonna talk because this is actually about the Society of Thought, and that's the only way that I guess, in a way, the Jove's faction is connected. The Jovians are connected in any way, but because you cannot build those ships, you cannot distribute. They're only distributed by the CCP games. During special events. There's like even one right now. The capsuleer that they're gonna give you like a Jovian design ship. It's, yeah. You're gonna get like a Praxis once you finish it, everything. But yeah, they're totally. I mean, the true Jovian warships are completely inaccessible. They have like some ships that only the developers can fly, like Eidolon or Red. Right? Those ships are basically can target players that cheat or something, but they're exclusively flown by CCP game masters to obliterate rule breakers. And if we look at the Jove Empire, let me just actually pull. There you get this Jove Empire. I mean, let's just get like, you know, one of the system or the constellations. You cannot get to any of those, right? If I set destination, there's no way to get there. It tells me one jump, but there's no way to actually get there. You know, the Jove Empire is located in like a northeast region of. Actually, let me just finish this mission, because I interrupted it. No, okay. Start. Okay, there you go. All right. I mean, yeah. It is located like in the northeast region of the map, but you know, the Jove UA4 A 221A, but you know, there's targets they're leading, you know, in the territory that collapses years ago. You cannot jump, warp, or sino into Jove space. It is just completely, I mean, there's no way to get there. It's completely locked off from player base. They have no trade hubs, no market accessible to capsuleers. The only Jovian economy that exists is massive markups players put by the, I guess, the ships that they design on the Jira market, on the anniversary hands out, you know, when they dry up. You know, they don't participate in faction warfare, insurgencies, or sovereign null-sec politics. They just observe the lesser empires from afar. There's no Jove LP. You cannot run missions for them. You cannot hand blueprints or faction modules or capsule. You literally cannot do anything. I mean, the only thing good about this faction is, you know, because I guess their lore, maybe even the aesthetics, the ships looks pretty cool. We know that the Jove, they're the ultimate boogeyman of the New Eden. They survive the collapse of the Eve Gate thousands of years ago with the technology intact. You know, their lore-wise is great. You know, I'll tell you that much. Can tell you more about their lore. They have like millions of years ahead of other empires. They're literally gifted the Ammar and Kaldari technology to create capsuleers. So that's pretty cool to know. However, their race was nearly wiped out by the Jovian disease, a feral psychology, depression caused by extreme genetic manipulation. The ship design, you know, as we see in the Society of Thought, hulls are striking, looking, you know, highly advanced, geometrical puzzle boxes, completely alien, and to the rusty Minmatar or blocky Kaldari philosophies. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, it's definitely in D tier. I cannot just. I will probably. I think it's one of the worst D tier. I'll put like Jovian over the other factions that will be in this tier D tier list. But I guess, you know, lore wise, they're pretty badass. You know, I guess it's how we are created as capsuleers in a way. So I mean, it breaks all the rules of the tiers list, because, you know, for the regular capsuleers, they're just entirely unplayable. You cannot join them, you cannot travel their space, you cannot manufacture the ships. But however, their technology is foundation of the entire capsuleer age. So that's about the Jove. The Jove. Alright, let's go to another one that is pretty bad, and that'll be the Ammatar. An Ammatar fleet issue is also like a D tier faction. They're just, I mean, they only, I guess, you know, they produce few faction modules like the Ammatar fleet from the LP. their LP store, like the Ammatar Navy energy turrets. But uh, besides that, they're just absolutely no unique ships. They don't have. I mean, let's get into the game. Show you. See, there's no ships. Ammatar. There's no Ammatar faction here. So they don't have their own ships. They don't have the unique ship tree. They're a client state, heavily subsidized by the Ammar military. Capsuleers that fly under the Ammatar banners simply use Ammar hulls. There's no special hybrid bonuses or unique tactical advantage to take care of here. And as a geography, I have here in my notes, let me pull the notes back again. They have their own region, so that's something, but their region is pretty dead, is in here. It is located in this region, the region of Derelic, which is known as being a very quiet area of space, make it somewhat safe, I guess, for undisturbed PvE missions running if you want to avoid heavy traffic. But besides that, they really are notoriously disconnected from the rest of the galaxy economy. So there are no major trade hubs here anywhere nearby, meaning you have to just restock. Going back to the Mars space, it is a logistical dead zone. So let me just actually finish this mission real quick. Will that finish? Yeah. Okay, let me set the destination. Yeah. There's no dedicated Ammatar militia for faction warfare. And I guess historical, because they act as a buffer military against the Minmatar Republic. Capsuleers just cannot join Mars specific insurgencies or front lines. You can run missions for corporations like Ammatar Consulate or the Ammar Fleet, but their Ammatar LP store mostly offer just standard implants and Ammar Navy lasers. It is completely lacks the high profitable meta defining ships blueprints for found in the pirate faction stores, making it very like a weak choice for ISK farming. The only good thing or the nice thing that I could say about the Ammatar, let me just get them actually shown up. Is that their lore and fantastic, deeply political charge. They actually the Nefantar tribe of the Minmatar people, and during the Ammar occupation of the Matari homelands, and the Nefantar heavy collaborator with the Ammar masters. And when the Minmatar rebellion broke out, they branded as traitors and fled alongside the Ammar. They were eventually granted semi-autonomous Ammatar mandate in the Deliric region. And for their loyalty, and they're a tragic faction of religious converts and exiles viewed with absolute hatred by their former brethren. Yeah. Interesting lore, I'll say this. For anyone that is interested in their lore, I guess that what also makes some faction fun. But you cannot just have just lore and be a good faction, all right? So you have to be a little bit more. I mean, for the everyday capsuler, the Ammatar mandate is largely like a ghost town. I mean, it really is. Um, you know, their lore definitely is incredibly deep and tragic. They offer almost nothing unique in terms of gameplay mechanics, ships, or active communities. And if you're flying here, you're just doing purely for roleplay. There's no other reason why you want to do that. Alright, let's go to the next one. Um, the next one, let me just get back to it, would be the, how are they called? Khanid Innovations? Or Khanid Kingdom? Let me actually see how are they called in game. Yeah, Kingdom. That's the next faction that I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna talk a little bit about them. So if I need to talk about them, they might not be in the lowest tiers, right? But who knows? All right. So the Khanid Kingdom is, you know, does not have a startup line of pirate faction ships like Gresta or Angel. Instead, they're contracted corporations, Khanid Innovations. Um, provides texture research and design some of the best Ammar ships in the game. Ships, they design ships basically. All right, so I mean, if you look at the malediction, you look over here. See, in this corner, it shows that they're designed by the um, Khanid Kingdom. There's a couple of more. There's Malediction. There's Vengeance. You can see the logo here, right here. There's also the Sacrilege, which is also right here. And the Damnation. I mean, but those are really good ships, you know. They're all Khanid designs. They ditch the Ammar reliance on lasers and use close range missiles like rockets or heavy assault missiles, and combined with massive armor buffers. I guess the bad thing that I would say is that, you know, because they're effectively just flying Tech2 Ammar ships, there's no distinct Khanid ship tree like Alpha Clone for Alpha Clones or new players to progress through. And furthermore, I mean, the Khanid ships are just incredibly slow. They're built to take a beating and brawl at zero and on the warp in, but they struggle heavily against fast kiting opponents. Let's talk a little bit though about their geography. Let me show you a system. Oh shit, I shouldn't have closed that. So there's the Khanid region. Let's show it on the map. That is right here. It is uniquely positioned. It borders with Ammar here in the north. I thought that their border, okay. You know, it makes, you know, a decent ground for veteran players looking for like low sec content or a quick route deep into null sec. They also have a few high sec pockets. Like I zoomed into this system, like Palace. Yeah, you can just run missions relatively safely. But it lacks a major trade hub. They're just entirely reliant on making the dangerous trek of Ammar to buy or sell your own goods. And furthermore, the region is notoriously for low sec gate camps and makes the logistics a massive headache for solo capsuleers. Alright. But you know, they don't have their own faction militia or pirate insurgency. They're just allied with the Ammar Empire. Um, so if you want to fight for them, then just join the Ammar militia, the 24th Imperial Crusade. They don't have a dedicated Khanid war zone. Let's just, you know, you can earn LP at their corporations, but I guess the primary draw is the Khanid Navy um, modules. Let me see. I haven't put it here, but like ballistic control systems and armor hardeners, and the blueprints for their capital ships. But historically, the Khanid LP store has struggled to compete with the sheer profitability of the Caldari or Minmatar LP. Um, but their lore is just brilliant. I mean, behind the Khanid, there's a brilliant lore founded by the royal Ammar heir who refused the tradition of ritual suicide after losing the imperial throne. The Khanid violently seceded to form their own kingdom. They maintained the zealotry and brutal slave economy of the Ammar, but they pragmatically ally with the Caldari state and share missiles and shield technology. Their ships take the golden cathedral-like look hall of the Ammar and paint them in the menacing, stealthy gunmetal black. That just looks incredibly intimidating. I mean, let's just take a look. Yeah, badass. They're. I would say if I would have to give them a rank, the Khanid Empire is definitely a C tier. Um, they're called sometimes the Dark Ammar. Occupies a very strange spot in New Eden. They're technically a minor empire that's split from the Ammar centuries ago, but today they operate almost like a high-end weapon manufacturer. And if you love the idea of strapping Caldari missiles launchers into heavy Ammarian armor, this is your domain. So that's about it. About the Khanid Kingdom. Alright, let's go to the next one on the list, and that will be the Syndicate. I mean, Syndicate is just... Oh, Syndicate is just such a bad faction choice. I mean... Let me show the region. It's where they are. I mean, what can I tell you, man? They do not manufacture a dedicated, unique pirate ship like Crystals or Angel Cartel. They produce, I guess, highly valuable faction modules. And I guess the Syndicate brand clocking device, damage control, and energy neutralizer are highly sought after by PvP capsuleers, but you cannot undock a specialized Syndicate combat hull. And they don't have a ship tree if you look at it, right? There's no Syndicate ships. And because they were formed by Intaki exile from the Galente Federation during the Caldari-Galente War, they largely rely on standard Galente ships like the Calist or the Vexor for the security forces. And for a capsule for me looking for unique ships, bonuses, and new systems, there is nothing here. Guess their geography is alright. The geography, the NPC nullsec of Syndicate serves as an important link between the core empires and the illegal element found in the outer region. So I guess that's cool. But it is widely regarded as a pirate haven, but it maintains enough civility to allow almost anyone to travel there for business. The markets in Syndicate space are notoriously chock full of contraband goods and illegal wares that are extremely difficult or impossible to find elsewhere. So I guess they have good economy there. But it is kind of deep in nullsec. You know, logistics heavily require capital jump freighters or carefully navigating heavily camped low sec gates in Placid right here, or in Solitude if you want to go into the south. So yeah, and they don't have like faction warfare. They don't have insurgency. Obviously, we know that. Kind of more. I mean, all the other factions that I'm gonna mention in this video, they're not gonna have that anymore. I already cover all the 6 that they have, but do they have like a community strength? You know, that's what I'm looking for. And they're just strictly neutral. You know, business-oriented organization that prefers to stay out of massive territorial wars. You can run missions to them and earn Syndicate LP, which is acquired for the faction modules. And, you know, the LP is profitable, but there's no massive coordinated player community driven conflict on their behalf to find with Ammatar or the Deathless Circle. So, and also I guess their lore is quite alright. You know, because you know the Syndicate remains the largest block. Let me pull this. I have so little said about those factions because there's not much to talk about. They don't have a ship tree. They don't have, you know, I can't have good notes. Yeah, I guess they. This is just a character name, but I guess their leader is known as Sylphie El Diablo. It's also a note that I made there. Yeah, I mean, largest black market and money laundering organization in the cluster, and their lore is definitely fantastic. They operate as a highly organized cartel where each station is autonomous entity that operates on security and information sharing. Yeah. And I talked about Sylphie del Diablo, former sister of Eve, who returned to Syndicate space to reclaim her father fortune and prove to be incredibly ruthless. And actually, okay, Syndicate. Actually, see what it is. The Syndicate. Can you guys see the Syndicate? Ah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, if I have to give a rank to the Syndicate, I'll put it in C. It operates from, you know, I guess very differently from an aggressive pirate cartel of New Eden. They're just focusing on galactic conquest or spreading chaos. They're quite wealthy middlemen of the cluster. So if you want to dive into underworld economy, this is definitely your home if you want to go there. All right, I have a couple of more notes gonna talk forward. I have 3 more factions. There's a lot to talk about because you cannot just make a list without a tier list without just giving a little bit of context or some explanation why you have them in that tier. So it's gonna be a long video, guys. So if you're still around somehow, me telling you about the lore of those factions, then I appreciate you. That's all I can tell. All right, let's talk about one more, one interesting one. I think this is actually a good faction. That will be the, and before we actually do that, let me just finish or start this mission. Okay. Oh, that's so good. It gives me only high sec missions, which is great. Okay, set. Wait, where can I see? Oh. It's just a bit further down, huh? Alright, cool. The Mordu's Legion, guys. Let's show some info. I mean, the Mordu Legion ships, they have a ship tree, so that's quite different in good. They have their own ship tree, which is pretty cool. And their ships are great. The Garmor, the Ortros, and the Barghest are built for just one thing, and oppressing kiting. So they're very good anti-kiting ships. They get massive bonuses to missile velocity. That means their missiles hit instantly across huge distances. And a terrifying bonus of warp disruptors. Just look at one of that. Show info. So they get warp disruptor extra range, maximum range. Yeah. They're very bad PvE ships, but they're not used for that. They can tackle well outside of the ability to shoot back, and in solo gang PvP, they're just absolute monsters that dictate the terms of every fight. But their tank is kind of thin. They lack like sustained DPS or drone bonuses of the Agrista. They're just like incredibly expensive, and piloting them requires intensive manual flying. So if you make one mistake, you get caught close up, your shiny mercenary ship will pop in a second. So be careful. Their home station is in 5ZXXK. Let me show it on the map. It's right here. They don't have a lot of systems. They have like only 6 systems in one station. It is an NPC nullsec region in pure blind, if I'm not. There you go. And it is extremely known for like staging system for that historically sees a lot of traffic and content. But it is highly concentrated and surrounded by massive player-owned sovereign null sec empires. And moving goods in and out of 5ZXXK requires jump fighters or slipping through heavily camped null sec gate campers. it is not a friendly place for solo players to set up a shop. So you know about it. And unlike, they don't participate in faction warfare, but you can get good standing by just doing Empire. Um, what is called that activity? Counters pirate insurgency. So if you just do a counter pirate insurgency, you're gonna get automatically good standing with the Mordu Legion. So that's a good way to, you know, have good standing with the faction. Um, you can run missions in pure blind to get, I guess they're LP, but their ship blueprints primarily drops from running sites in null no, not null in low. So you probably see that in faction warfare. They're called besiege covered research facilities, or just hunting more rebel threats. And while the ships are valuable, there's no large scale coordinated community grinding for them like the other pirate factions. But if I would have to give them a ranking, this actually, where are they? There you go. It's actually a pretty good faction. I'll put it like right under the Grista. Because if you want to fight a number, control the range of the engagement. This is up and be absolutely hated by everyone. You should. You fly more than Legion. They're just the premier elite of mercenaries in New Eden. But because they're highly specialized PvP in nature and just lack modern faction warfare mechanics, pull their overall score down to an average capsuleer. Alright. Man, there's a lot of factions in Evil Knight to talk about. I mean, not that they're not, but there's a lot to talk about because it's just like you're talking about the whole faction in general, right? You cannot just talk about, you know, or not say anything about it. We got two more. Obviously, if I talked about the Mordu Legion's command, I have to talk about the Deathless Circle as well. So it's quite a new faction added somewhat recently into the game. They have their own ships actually. They have only 2 ships, but they're pretty good. Can you believe that this ship was actually billions when it first launched? But yeah, let's talk about it. The Deathless Circles. I mean, the Deathless Circle, guys, has introduced Fearsome in Ammatar and Kaldari hybrid ships, the Tolos, and the Cenotap battlecruiser. They're designed for stealthy, high-risk, close quarter combat, and they can fit cover-up, clocking devices, and their secret weapon is obviously the Scarab breach pod. Let me just show you info. So they can equip this new weapon, small, or I guess bigger if you have a bigger ship, small breacher pod launcher, and which kind of tears like enemy ships from the inside out, and they'll like sustain damage over time. And on top of that, they build like a status web of fire resistance, keeping them highly mobile, even when tackled. So on the other hand, though, they are like highly specialized, and if you want a standard easy to fly PvE ship, These hit and run ambushes vessels are not it. You know, their reliance on cover ups and damage over time makes them incredibly deadly in the hands of a skilled pilot, but unforgiving for those who just make mistakes. Like most of high skill ships. And the geography is actually pretty good. They have like only one system, and that is Zarzakh. But that's all they need, right? Let me just where. Alright, you know what? Alright, Deathless. I have so many tabs open, guys. Sorry. Zarzakh. Yeah, look at this. Show it on the map. Yeah, it is an uncharted system housing like ancient Jovian megastructure called the Fulcrum. Zarzakh just acts as a massive pirate transit hub linking 4 regions: New Eden, Turner, Alsavoinen, HP8, Tunite, and G0Q86. And if you align to like the pirate factions, the Fulcrum systems are just an incredible market hub and launchpad for pirate insurgencies via Deathless shipcaster. And you know, the Zarzakh is definitely uniquely dangerous. The system contains dead zone that will melt your ship hull directly if you fly into it. And furthermore, jumping into Zarzakh via gate slaps you with like 6-hour emanation lock. Means you can only leave that exact gate unless you use a shipcaster or a cone jump. And capitals are completely barred from entry. And yeah, that's about it. And the Deathless Circle is just like the absolute center of the current conflict. They drive the pirate insurgency, spreading chaos and corruption to Empire space. And with the development of mercenary dens across nullsec, capsuleers are constantly fighting to control tactical operations to convert workforce into highly priced encrypted infomorphs. The community engagement here is massive. So, and their LP is S tier, is because Deathless rewards capsuleers who bring them encrypted infomorphs and ATA VUM artifacts. Their economy is booming. The blueprints for the ships, Talos and Cinepod and Scarab pods are highly sought after. And even their aesthetics, I mean, they look amazing. Look at this. And their lore is just arguably the most compelling in the game right now. The Deathless Circle is the coalition of criminals, renegades, and elite espionage agents operating out of abandoned Jovian transportation hub. Zarzakh itself features a gorgeous, treacherous sandstorm environment completely unlike anything in New Eden. And the faction is a perfect blend of high-tech mystery and gritty underworld crime. And if I would have to give a ranking to the Deathless Circle, I would definitely put them even above the Gristas. It's a high tier A. Yeah, the Deathless Circle is like the newest major pirate faction in New Eden and just shaking up the galaxy with their ancient Jovian stronghold. And they combine covert operations, highly unique environments, and a thriving insurgency community. So there you go. That's my ranking for the Deathless. I'll have one more faction in this video. Not quite a bit. I mean, I might need to do 4 parts. I don't think I will be able to do this like in one video after this. there are still quite a bit remaining. But all right, let's talk about the next one, which is EverMore, which is also a very new faction in New Eden. Let me just see where they are. Factions. Where are you? There you go. The last one. And the newest one. Yeah, I mean, EverMore is kind of a new one. A new faction. They do not manufacture their own dedicated combat ship. They don't have a ship tree, obviously. Instead, though, they just are subsidiary corporation. Paragon takes ships whole from Capsuleer and exchanges them for exclusive services. And I guess because they lack this distinct ship line, you cannot just undock with a dedicated EverMore combat vessel. And while their forces, which they have in the Velour security operations, typically utilize Galente hull for defense, the Capsuleer looking for unique faction bonuses or weapon systems not find them here. But when talking about their geography, if we're looking at their geography, I mean, where can I actually see? Give me a second. And then more. Yeah. Control territory, solar systems. Okay. Well, the systems that they control, they don't have that much, but they have like a lot of structures or not corporation stations. And I mean, their geography and economy access is definitely unparalleled reach, because they just own like interstellar transportation giant Interbus. The logistic network is massive. Their Paragon stations are strategically located in nearly every major trade hub in Eden, including Jira, Mordu, Dixie, Rens, and Heck. And you can never be far from EverMore services. I guess, and but you're just only trading in goods and halls, not ISK. In a way, you could do that with the opportunities. You can convert those. Or did they took that out? I'm not sure. But it was that you can actually convert your EverMore into ISK via opportunities. And yeah. Yeah, they don't have a faction warfare, but they have a community, and that's also it does make them a little bit higher on the list on this criteria, because they recently mobilized in 2025. They managed to get into top 10 in the Drifter Crisis races for the hives. And it pushed back the Drifter trade and claim the wormhole territory. They didn't get into top 5, but they get into top 10, which is something. It was quite a buzz when that happened, that they even managed to get there so far. So interesting, to say the least. I guess people care about aesthetics or identity, and yeah, they don't have loyalty points, but they have EverMore issue, EverMarks. They're highly sought after, players, because they just used to unlock advanced nanohologic projections which power the ship's emblems and skin cosmetics systems. And the value here is just purely aesthetic, but you know, if looking cool is half of the battle. And their lore is steeped in like corporate mystery with cyberpunk teams led by President Alexander Ducasse. The mega corporation operates with minimal oversight and aggressively acquires companies spanning from cloning, like Clomax Incorporation, to cloud computing vapor seed technologies. And the critics argue their volunteer inter-sourcing is deliberate practice to obscure their true operations from the public. To top it off, just Paragraph Chief Representative of IRIS, the first soft AI, be granted organizational control over a corporation in the history of Needon. And yeah, overall, they're not the worst as a faction. I would actually put them even, let's put it on C. That's fine on C. It is highly unusual compared to the other empires or pirates, syndicates. Form as a massive corporation conglomerate after taking majority ownership of Interbus. They do not operate like a traditional combat faction. Instead, they are the undisputed master of cosmetics and logistics. And obviously, if you care making your ships look incredible or playing the corporate market, EverMore is your focus. So that's about it. I have quite a bit of factions that I still need to do. I might need to do 2 more parts. I don't think I can do like, how much, I mean, there are 3, 6, yeah. I have to do it in 2 more parts. That'll be for the part 2 of my tier list of the factions. There's quite a bit of rambling, but hope you guys enjoy, and me telling about a little bit the lore behind those factions and how I would rank them from, let's just say, a perspective of a capsuleer that has no idea. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you into the next one.